Arizona with their down coats on, and we just kind of laughed at them, thinking, boy, those people really can't handle the cold because, it was 70, 60 outside. But now that I've been down here, your blood starts to, I don't know, thicken or thin, and you
And
get
you say,
used
this
to
is
that
nothing.
stuff. And yeah, so, yep, it's a change, but your body gets accustomed to it.
Yes, that's true.
Okay, well, I'll be quiet.
It's okay. We can talk meanwhile because Lee is getting ready. Everything. So we can
Okay.
still speak about the weather and and the way we adapt. When I was moving from, I could realize that whenever I move from one place to another, it takes me like 3 months to feel like adapt in terms of the weather and the geography. I mean, when you go around and you find yourself knowing which where is south and north and all those things, it takes me like 3 months to settle down in that way. It's funny. I don't
Yeah,
know if
well,
that will be the case here, but because this place is small, but yeah, when I moved
well,
from
in
Cali to Bogota and then from Bogota to Mexico, I,
mhm,
I took like 3 months to really find myself knowing where I was.
yeah, well, in your case, coming from more by the equator, they maybe have a rainy or a non-rainy season, but they don't have the big change in temperatures like you get in towards the poles. So quite a
Yes.
difference having
Yes, in that sense, I did have a great change when I moved from Cali to Bogota because Cali is a warm city and Bogota is cold all year. So I
mm,
moved from a warm all year city to one cold all year, and then Mexico is like bipolar,
uh,
and they do experience a little bit of the seasons. So I guess I was getting ready to move to a place with full seasons.
yeah, yeah, and coming in rather than moving up in the summer, moving in the winter or the uh, early spring, you're seeing a lot bigger change than if you would have come up here in the winter or in the summer. So,
Yes, I guess that too. Yeah.
okay, all right. Well, I will be quiet.
And
Good
good
morning,
morning.
everybody. Who did I talk over? All right. Well, good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful morning. This morning, we've got two lessons in our lesson review for 114. I am spirit, and I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation. And I'm going to read through both of them like I usually do. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're all having a great weekend. All right. Well, with no further ado, here we go. Lesson 114. It's 97 and 98. For morning and evening review, I am spirit. And then 98 is I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation. I am spirit. I am the Son of God. No one can contain my spirit, nor impose on me a limitation that God created not. I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation. What could my function be but to accept the Word of God, who has created me for what I am and will forever be? On the hour, remind yourself that you are spirit. Say, I am spirit. And on the half hour, say, I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation, because every single one of us are part of it. We're not required for God's plan of salvation, but we have a part of it. And the more of us that focus on bringing it, the faster it will come. I'm going to read through some of the notes. I think I bookmarked I Am Spirit to read the notes behind this one. So I thought it would bring this all together. Lesson 97, I Am Spirit, states the simple fact that you do not have a choice of who you are. You are spirit and remain as God created you. This makes your decision a simple one. You do not have a choice between good and evil, since only one exists. Truth is the only choice that you are given. Your denial of the truth is not a viable option. Your refusal to accept the fact that you are spirit is simply your decision maker's refusal to make a decision and to delay the ending of time. It is your ego's belief that the false is an actual, meaningful choice. Your egoic world is meaningless since it has no effect on truth. The truth is that only one love is real, and you are that one. This is the only choice you are asked to make. There's only one problem, one choice, and one answer. And I realized that I glossed over quickly saying what I was reading from. So the first part that I read out of Understanding A Course in Miracle workbook lessons. And I can send out a link to that. That's Tom's book. And in a moment, I'll read from the Circle of Atonement group. But these are the notes from Tom's book. If you ever go looking for them, that's where to find them. Time is the belief that opposites exist. Time will end when you realize that all fear-based illusions are not real, and you simply freely decide to accept the at-one-ment, the atonement that we talk of in the book, for yourself. The atonement is the realization that you are now and forever will be that big S, self, that higher self. With that realization, time, which is the measure of change, ends. Time has fulfilled its purpose of healing the split mind of its belief in separation. Sleeping minds have now reawakened to the changelessness of eternity, and that they are united as that one self. You are spirit. In time, your choice is simply to accept the truth that you remain perfect, whole, and complete in an attempt or attempt to deny that truth. Reject all egoic attempts to argue for your littleness. I am spirit is simply a statement of fact. You complete God and are sharing God's function as creator when you help others reawaken to the truth of who they are. You're involved in the creative process of extending the good, the holy, and the beautiful. You are co-creating with God. In time, love is the creative process in which time is utilized to reawaken sleeping minds to their spiritual magnificence, their higher self, or capital S, self. As spirit, you're endowed with God's love, peace, and joy. As a miracle worker, you look past the illusions that plague the minds of those who perceive themselves to be separate from their source. You're an instrument that the Holy Spirit utilizes to bear witness for the truth of who your brothers and sisters and you really are. A miracle is a change in perception. It is the exchange of the ego's fear-based thought system for the thought system of love and forgiveness. The miracle maker uses time to reframe the fear-based interpretation given to an experience in time. A miracle is not ruled by the laws of time. Rather, the miracle supersedes the fear-based laws of this world. Salvation is the miracle of reawakening to the truth. It's the first and last miracle, for it is an acceptance that you are that one self, united with your Creator. Salvation is the first and last miracle, since it ends the illusion of fear, which itself was never real. So today I've got a question that I'm going to put in there. We're going to take a minute for meditation, and that's going to make Dean happy. It'll be done. He'll be able to play his video game. All right, I'm going to paste the question in here from Tom's book. And let's take a minute to remember where we're connected to the earth. What is supporting you? If you're in a chair, if you're laying down, you have complete support of the surface beneath you. And that surface is connected to Earth, as we all are connected to this planet. Take a deep breath of clean, fresh air and fill your lungs up. Let your belly relax for a minute. Take that deep breath in and hold it for a moment or two. And then, as soon as you can, relax and let that air out. We're going to take 2 more breaths. And then I've got a short meditation for you. And then we'll all be ready to go on and have a magnificent Sunday. One more deep breath in. Take all that air into your body. Hold that breath and stay with nice filled lungs. And with control, exhale. Let that air out. Relax. Take a nice deep breath in, the biggest breath of the day. Fill your lungs up all the way and hold that, and then release it. Nice relaxation with your breath. Today, we're keeping 2 important thoughts in mind. That we're spirit and that we will accept our part in God's plan for salvation. Remember that you are the child of God. No body could possibly contain your spirit, nor impose on you a limitation, because God created no limitations. The actual words in the lesson are, I am the Son of God. No body can contain my spirit, nor impose on me a limitation that God created not. The second thought, I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation. What could my function be but to accept the Word of God, who has created for me for what I am and will forever be? That's in the form of a question. So what it's saying is, what could my function be but to accept the Word of God? And Word of God is the direction from the Holy Spirit. The Word of God who has created me. You were created with the Word of God, just like all the rest of creation. And for what I am and will forever be is reminding us that we are here, fully whole and complete, and unchanging forever, just like God, because the key part of us is that spirit, that life force within us, that power of God. So, on the hour, we'll remember I am spirit. And at the bottom of every hour, you will accept your part in God's plan for salvation today. We have to continually do this in time because we exist in time. So, in order for us to take our part in eternity, we have to consistently and continuously stay in the Spirit side. Accept your part in God's plan for salvation today. Let your spirit shine today. Take that thought of your spirit shining bright, bright as a star, bright as our star in the sky. That's your focus today. That's your function. And I hope you have a magnificent day. That's the end of this little bit. I invite you guys to come and tell me what you think and let me know. And there's no rush. You can have a quiet time too. Thank you all for joining me. Really appreciate it.
Hi. Hi.
Good morning, Caroline. Good morning, everybody.
I enjoyed this one today. I like these reviews. They seem to reinforce everything, and it just kind of helps to go over it again and again. They knew what they were doing when they wrote this.
Are you still talking, Caroline? Because I can see your mic on, but
Oh,
I can
uh,
hear you.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just said that I love these reviews because they bring everything back around again and again. They knew what they were doing when they wrote this.
Yes. Yes, it's funny because it's one single thought, but expressed in so many different ways.
Yeah, especially when
That
you read
makes,
the book.
yeah, it makes you realize, oh, it's all really coming to one, and
Yeah.
we just made it difficult.
Well, no wonder it takes a year to get through the workbook. You
Exactly.
know, I can see that now.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that we are in this journey together.
Yes. Thank you.
It's funny. It's funny because I was talking last night before I went to sleep, and please, let me just put the volume down a little bit of the music in the music. It's funny that, yeah, nobody can contain my spirit, and one of the latest thoughts in my mind is, well, we were talking about some things before going to sleep with Lee, and the idea of, yeah, if you have water and you want to make use of water, you need to use a bowl in order to contain the water and just make a good use of water. But the bowl is not the water. The bowl is just a tool to contain it, so you can make the best use of the water with your hands. And in some form, that's all what we that is what we all do when we come to this planet. We we come we come in a body, but we are still the water. We are still the essence of God, and the body is just a way to have a little bit of that substance and make a new use for it. I mean, not a new use, but some use of it. You can use your hands to grab water and drink it, but if you wanna prepare something, you need to use a bowl. So it's like containing. Doesn't mean that you are you're stopped to be the essence of all there is. And I mean in that because I was thinking about the kids. I mean, thinking about little kids, how we receive these beautiful babies and we start to show them whatever it is that happens in this world. We teach them how to use things. We teach them how to conceptualize words and find meaning in what we communicate. And that it's like analogy, like that analogy. We're grabbing water in some sort of bowl to make a use of it. So what is the use that we want to do with the water? Because the water um, will always be useful. But it's what you think about that water and what you think that you can do with the water, what it will make your experience good or bad. If you add too much salt to a soup or to anything that you're making with water, of course, the food will taste not that good. But um, if you take another ingredients and you can mix things on it, and it will turn out to be a really wonderful experience in a meal. So contention for me is one word that was one of my last thoughts last night, and it has to do with this lesson. Nobody can contain my spirit. Yes, that's true. But meanwhile, we believe that we are this body. We need to think and remember ourselves that we are not the bowl, we are the water. And the water is really fluid. It doesn't have a shape, it doesn't have a taste, it doesn't have any specific form. And the the way that we live life is the bowl. So it's a beautiful bowl. It's a bowl that can be used to several things. I don't know. The contention that we need to give to our kids is not giving them like the idea of that everything is scary and they need to have safety in their lives. The idea that we need to teach our kids is most about how you do things in a loving way. What is the best way for you to have an experience with an object instead of saying no all the time? And that way we will have a beautiful and fluid way to grow on them, way to grow with them, because when we teach them, we also are learning how to experience life all over again. I want to share that thought because it was like the last thought that I had last night, and it's consistent with what I'm saying right now. Nobody can contain my spirit nor impose on me a limitation God created not. The bowl is not there to contain all the water in the world. It's just to make a good use for a piece of that water. So welcome everybody. I hope you all have a beautiful Sunday. I'm having one beautiful weekend. We have here in the house a friend that Dean made here in the place we're living at, and he is this beautiful young boy, 6 year old little boy, and he is so cute. So we're having here a beautiful experience with the kids. So I hope you are all having a good.
Yeah, I'm having a good morning. It's funny. I don't know what y'all do when you first wake up. I guess we all have a little bit of a routine. Um, I like to quickly go through on my phone just to see if anything really important seems to have come in, whether it was through something on the phone. It could be a message, a text, an email, all of these different ways that information travels. And I did find one that was really interesting, and I started to listen to that, and then I thought, oh, there's other things I need to do, and there's so much stuff that that attracts anybody's attention, unless you just live in a with a black cloak over your head. There's so much stuff we try to make some sense out of. I wonder how children make any sense out of anything anymore. Um, we were bringing up Lee many years ago. There wasn't as much of a profusion of so many different ideas, and all ideas have another idea that's alternate to it, not necessarily right, necessarily wrong, blah blah blah. I don't know how anybody can make some sense out of all of the things that are going on, because there's so much. How do you put it all together? And yet here comes a book that says, I am spirit, I am one, I am the Son of God. How does he dare to say that to us? Nobody can contain my spirit. And the thing that I'm beginning to feel more and more is that this book is here to help reunify all of us, because there's so many divergent ideas that go every which way, so many different ways of looking at the world. Whether you're getting into Neil deGrasse Tyson kind of astrophysics, and um, or regular biblical translations from whichever church you came through. How do we find anything that's meaningful that we can actually talk about? And yet, that's what is happening here in the book. That love is the one thing that there is. Everything else is really superfluous, and it's the opposite of fear, which means all the things that we're afraid of, all the things that we worry about, all the things that we feel guilty about or shame, and blaming this person for that, and shaming that person, and being shamed or not being shamed. All of that stuff is junk. And the only thing that really means anything anymore is love. If you think about the theme of of lyrics of songs, and occasionally I look at that, and most songs are written about love. Love gone wrong, love gone right, love misapplied, love places. And one person leaves and their world is trashed. But it is the thing that has preoccupied us through the ages, probably more than anything else, with the exception of exactly what is this God that's up there, down here, inside, outside. If it's inside me, is it also inside that person? Doesn't look like it. That guy doesn't appear very godly to me. And it's all of this confusion. And and then there's the simplicity of a 3-word sentence: I am spirit. Oh, well, that lets go of a lot of that other junk. and I am the Son of God. Oh, that makes me kind of special. I can feel better about myself because the world is not trying to help me feel better about myself in general. So the simplicity that I'm feeling from what I'm reading here and what Lee has read so beautifully, that simplicity itself is a wonderful thing to behold. And that's what I think about this morning as I watch my son say hello to Adriana. So
Tamara was
that's it.
asking, thank you, Bob, beautiful thought too. Tamara, you were asking about contention, or I'm watching the back channel, the room chat. So I don't know if you have any thoughts about this. Because what I meant by contention is not that we need to focus on that word specifically. It's just that for me it was kind of a synchronicity that my last thought last night was about water and a bowl, that we are all water, just in a bowl, to make a good use of that specific part of the water, but we are not the bowl, we are the water. I don't know if that makes sense to
I
anybody.
I was just thinking it was maybe not the word you meant. That's why I put that. I think maybe you meant containment rather than contention.
Con-
Contention.
Okay. Well, maybe I did use bad the word because I don't know which one is the most accurate, but it has relationship with contain something. I don't know if contention is like the a container.
Container or containment, but contention
Contain. Well, it is.
is
I
some
mean,
sort of opposition. Contention, right?
contention makes you feel like if it has negative
Mm-hmm.
reference into
Yeah.
it. Okay. Yeah, I do mean that. That controversy is something that I was thinking about last night, because when you are talking about kids, raising kids, being a loving parent not always means that you get to say yes to everything to have them happy because you want them to be happy. These kids that comes into the world through you are meant here for something higher than yourself. They are here for something higher than yourself. You may have want them, but they came here for a higher reason. So when you have a beautiful soul in your hands and you are going to start your life as a parent or as a mom or whatever, we tend to do a lot of contention at the beginning of their lives. Contention saying, no, no, don't touch that. No, you need to learn manners. You need to behave, and you need to be quiet, and we start to in that sense, contract their souls in some form. It's not something bad, it's just something that we need to do, and we have been doing all over the years because we want them safe in their physical form, and because we didn't knew better about the spirit. So we are having this experience with a little person in front of us, and what we do as parents at the beginning of their lives is doing contention, so they can move around the level of the form, being safe. And what I'm trying to state with that controversial word is that contention, in a loving way, is not thinking that you are the bowl, is thinking that you are the water, and you're just using a bowl to make something out of that water that can be beautiful, fun, or tasty, or whatever. So yes, you get to teach these kids how to behave and how to be careful with things and don't get hurt. But instead of doing it as the body is the most important thing, you get to do it like giving them tools to explore without so much fear. It's like how
Sounds like a contentious container.
I don't know the game of words there, because that's not my English is not the best suit for me right now. But the thing is that for example, I was telling a friend of mine that sometimes saying a no with love is also a yes, because God doesn't have no's doesn't have yes, he is just neutral. So sometimes saying no with love and being like a rock in some kind of determination is the most loving way to have water in a bowl. I don't know if I'm getting if I'm getting the analogy correctly here. Sometimes kids are going to be testing your patience, testing your ego, testing all your beliefs. And that doesn't mean that you will have to yell at them or whatever. That just means that they are testing the boundaries of their own bowl. So if you remain strong as a rock in some point without giving them any reaction, is really taking the responsibility of being a bowl of water, because you know that they are just beginning to understand the level of the form, and therefore you are not feeling afraid of what they will become, because they are already the water. You're just teaching them how to be a bowl, how to be within a bowl. I don't know if this makes sense. In my mind it does. And I hope I can have the specific words
I,
later
I
on,
think
but
I, I think what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong. First of all, that any container, which is not the same root as contention, a container like a pitcher or a bowl or a glass or a an alcoholic teacup, each container is different. So the water takes the shape of the container, and you're deciding the shape of the container that you're going to help the child shape into. So it's their water, but you're giving them a specific shape. It could look like a long flat one, and the water is way wide and very shallow. It could be very deep. The different types of containers that you choose in the way you bring them up, you contain them a little bit. Uh, let's not do too much of that, a little bit more of this. Then that's the way you're bringing them up. Is that in the order that you?
yeah, but they don't. But what we didn't understand as a father before, or for example myself, is that they are not the body; they are spirit. As we are the water. We are just with some contention or some containers, some containers,
I,
in order just to have an experience
yes.
with the water. But everything is the water
May,
itself.
may
So
I
when
may I
you
jump
address,
in,
yeah, go.
Adriana? And I
Go-
don't want to. And it's clear to me what you're saying exactly. I think, and I think that English is tricky because, and I know you've expressed you feel your English is excellent, and but I think contentious. And I had to look it up because I don't always know the definition of words right away. Is causing or likely to cause an argument or like a controversial issue. And so I think you might want to use it in a different example. I think is what is happening. But you're the way you're explaining the concept of what you're saying is perfect. Um, I don't know if everybody knows what I'm saying, because I had to look it
I'm
up
with
because
you.
sometimes I forget the exact definition, because some things sound like they mean one thing but it really means something else. So that's what I'm hearing from you, Adriana. When you say contentious, I think you mean something else when you're saying it, but
Oh,
the word
thank you, my
itself
friend.
means something else.
Yeah, thank you, my friend. Thank you.
You're welcome, but you explain it beautifully. I mean, I agree with you.
Yeah, and in fact, I mean, everything that my mother taught me when I was little was helpful in some part of my life, but I can bet anything that even myself, we didn't expect the life that I'm having right now. We, the way she raised me didn't have any specific like ambition on me being something. And therefore the experience with my life was really amazing because it didn't have a specific expectation from her side nor from my side. I only knew that I didn't have money to pay college, that my mom wouldn't be able to pay college for us because she told us very young, at a young age. And she really was giving us all these sort of ideas in our mind that gave us tool to just approach uh, the the level of the form in the safest way that she could understood, and in that way gave us freedom, in fact, to be whatever we wanted to be. So, for example, my life for her has been always something amazing because I could do things that she never could do, and with some sort of same lackness that she had in her youth about money and all those things. And she has been really amazed by the way freedom works, freedom of expectation on a child's growing. We don't get to know what our childs are going to be in the future. We just here to love them and give them some support in form of, I don't know if the word again applies or not, but in some form of contention for them to be able to move forward with their lives and then be whatever that God wants them to be in order to be part of his plan. So yeah, the word containment is controversial, but if you understand that word as a bowl instead of the identification itself of the water, then you can understand as well that you can be whatever you want every single day of your life. You can do whatever you want every single day of your life, and doesn't matter your age, doesn't matter your gender, doesn't matter anything. It's just a matter of releasing the concept that you are the bowl and knowing that you are the water, and the water is fluid. The water can can be whatever you want it to be.
Well, in regards to this whole analogy, I think that uh, maybe the word that we're looking for is not contentious, but containment. That actually time and space is the belief in separation. And in order to play on this game board of time and space, we need the illusion of separation. Our essence is the water or spirit, and spirit just flows and seeks its own level, which is, it would go throughout, just is. But in time and space, for us to have the experiences that we want, which is to demonstrate love in form, or to uh, experience this idea of separation so that we can have individuated experiences, we need a game token or the bowl to hold that essence in. And as uh, our essence is really unlimited spirit that would just flow, but we need to be able to have some containment in it, or a body or a game token, so that we can actually hold a space in time and space. If we didn't have the body, our spirit would just flow throughout, and there would be no uh, no specific point of reference that we could interact with. We just all intermix. I think that you're talking about parents, and what people, and not just parents, but everybody needs to be aware of, especially in regards to children or young minds, is that the shape of their bowl is going to be not the physical body, but the labels or beliefs that we impose upon them. And just as a container limits the flow of the water, our limiting beliefs or our saying that you are the body and the body is you, or that you're stupid, those are all containments. Those are confining ideas that limit people or limit their spirit. And as we accept that belief about ourselves, instead of being able to flow endlessly and just, you know, uh, seek our own level, we are limited. So uh, we want to be very careful about our beliefs, because it's our beliefs that limit us and not our spiritual essence. Our essence is perfect, whole, and complete. When we mistake our essence for the bowl or the body, we limit ourselves. You know, like they talk about God, God is, but when you label, you limit me. And parents, society, this fear based world tends to want to place labels on people or things and confine them, as opposed to realizing that their essence is spirit or unlimited and just flows. I hope that helps. Thank you.
Can I jump in?
Yes, Rainbow, and thank you, Tom. Yeah, you really put order in my words. Thank you, Rainbow. Go ahead.
It was something that Tom just said about the limitations um, that are imposed on us. When I was a child, I was told that I have allergies. My mom, who's a nurse, recognized signs in me that I had allergies just as a toddler. So I was put that limitation in my head for my whole life that I have allergies. And I grew up, continued to believe these limitations about myself. And my daughter one day asked for a dog. So, of course, I bought her a dog. And I went through about 8 months of popping allergy pills to, you know, survive these limitations I believed I had, until one day I prayed and I was guided to lesson 26 workbook about attacking my invulnerability. And it just hit me. And I was like, whoa, I am setting these limitations on myself. I am allowing this to happen. And my perception of the dog, I'm attacking my invulnerability. And I just sat with that. And over, I don't know, I guess a week, it just improved and improved. And I kept telling myself, no, this dog is love. She loves her dog. You don't have these limitations. He's not, the dog isn't the one giving you all these allergies. Your thoughts are. And so I kept working with this and I stopped taking the allergy pills. It's been over a year, and every once in a while they creep in and I think, oh, this dog's attacking me and I have allergies, and I'll start to get a runny nose, and then I'll catch myself and say, whoa, you're attacking your vulnerability again, all these attack thoughts. And, it was limited by my own perception of what I was told, what was programmed into me, that I have allergies and I'm allergic to this dog. And with love, I was able to, bring myself out of that limitation. I just thought I'd share that.
Super great example, and thank you for sharing that, because now you made a really good example of how to say no with love. In order for you to say yes to the dog and the beautiful experience of your daughter with the dog, you had to say no to that concept.
Yeah.
And that's my point. I mean, every kind of containment that you had in your belief system was useful in some form in the past, to just have water in a bowl, to use it for something. that it's no longer required. Any container can really contain the entire water of the world. They just grab a little bit and have some experience with it, but there's no a container that can hold all the water in the world in one single place restricted with a lid or whatever. It will always overflow. So when you have a belief system with some sort of a containment, and you grow up and your water starts to feel and feel and feel and feel and feel that bowl, the water needs to move freely in some other form, so you will have to change the container in some form. And that's how we also do with the body. The body starts to move forward with life and space and time, and the body starts to adapt to different shapes, to different, different things. And that happens with our personality too, with our character. So the containers or the bowls that we had in the past are not longer required, and we just have to be willing to change the bowl every single day, to change the bowl, because the water is there flowing around us. And there's a lot of bowls that are too small to contain an experience in love, and that means that you have to say no to something in order to receive the yes of the love. And that's doing a no with love. For God, it doesn't matter. For God, there's no or yes, because he's not a dualistic thing. But for us, we have to understand that sometimes we need to say no to some things and be strong as a rock in some things in order to experience the love with the yeses that we all want to experience in love. So the no with love, like you did, is a yes. It's a yes on the experience of love. It's a yes. It's a yes on the experience of flow. Go with the flow, because you are not alone, because you are recognizing that a dog and a kid are part of your experience in love. So you are willing to let that be free without any restrictions, even if the restrictions come from your own body. You're
Yeah, it wasn't
disregarding
until
that.
I changed my
Exactly.
perception. Like when I changed my perception, that's when it was like it was a miracle. I changed my perception, and all of a sudden I could see the miracle. It was like, whoa, I was limiting the love.
And the love acts like that. When we had a cat, I used to talk about the cat in the past, and I'm no longer talking about the cat because the cat is no longer in that home. We rescue a baby cat, but my ex-husband and my daughter, they were allergic to it, but they both were so really so amazed by this little cat kitten, that we could embrace it in our home, and neither of them were ever allergic to the cat.
Mhm.
And the cat was a trouble, and it really was something that I didn't want to have in the house. So it really ended up being away for other reasons, but the allergic reaction wasn't there, because they were more aware of the beautiful experience of having a baby kitten than
Mhm.
the allergy itself. So it is true.
It's so beautiful.
It's interesting. I was raised by a mom, and like you, Adriana, who was very fearful, and she still is. And she's just afraid of so many things in the world. So she was always trying to protect me and steer me in one direction or another. And I was very rebellious when I was young. Had a lot of life, a lot of spirit in me, and she couldn't really stop me from doing some things. And even now, but for a lot of my life, I blamed her. But now I don't. I don't blame her. She's just still dealing with this fear, though, at 88 years old. And um, it's funny, her grandchildren, my kids, they see it in her, and we were trying to explain to her certain things about things that are unseen, I guess, and without getting into details of the conversation. And she's like, "Oh no, no, that doesn't happen," and all this. And And I'm just blessed that, for whatever reason, she wasn't exposed to maybe her level of fear kind of caused me to go in the other direction, and in life. And maybe that was her role, is to get me where I am, because all the things I went through and experienced, maybe it pushed me in this direction so strongly, to see truth and to become a student of all these different spiritual teachings. I was very drawn to it. But she said when I was very young, I was very spiritual as a child, which I find interesting. Um, so I don't know. It's so interesting how the parents that we are given or we end up with, but very opposite experience from you, Adriana. Very much controlled. She tried to anyway, but I had a beautiful life anyway. I think because I was always pushing in the other direction, it caused me to form into who I am. Or, of course, spirit is who I am anyway. Um, so yeah, really fascinating how our paths are because of our parents, or with in cooperation with our parents as co-creators. So it's all so complex, and that we find this, like I think Bob, you're talking about love being the simplest thing when we have so many choices. And it's like you have to go through the muck of confusion. And even here in Clubhouse, I was just pinged now. It's like so many things here to, just potentially distract you. But once you find that course, the truth is so simple. It's like seems much, much more clear. Um, but yeah, those are just a few of my thoughts. I could go on, but I don't want to ramble.
Janine, I think your mother did a good job on you, first of all.
Oh, thank
And
you,
I,
Bob.
I think life puts us in different types of containers. And the word that started this, the part was in this where it says, I am the Son of God. No body can contain my spirit, nor impose on me a limitation God created not. Okay, so what that means is we can have a glass that's round at the bottom and comes up. We can have one that's like a upside down pyramid, and it gets much wider at the top, but in the beginning, at the bottom of it, it's very contained. So there's all kinds of shapes that the body can come out looking like. I think that's what it's trying to say. Or maybe it's like a sculptor who's got one of these clay thing tables that's going around real fast, and if he puts his hands in a certain way, it'll put a little dent in the glass and so on. But what it's saying in the bigger picture is, I am the Son of God. No body can contain my spirit. Nobody can shape shift me into what they think I ought to be if I don't want to choose to go that way. Eventually, after I get out from this horrible parental control, we can make our life to be just the way we want it. I'd like to see if anyone here has a good way of understanding in their own mind the first sentence there. I am the Son, capital S, of God. That's a big statement, and it probably means something different to everybody. And rather than put my thought about it, I'd like to open that up and see if we can talk about that a little bit. What does that mean to you?
Can I say something? I always
Uh,
jump first, but I feel like I always jump first. So if anybody wants to talk, I'm going to give a second to flash your mics. I have to say that this is really true. I am the Son of God because love is love. Last night, the little boy that is having a pajama party here with Dean, it is his first sleepover, and he is like a door away from his apartment. But when he was asleep, he woke up and he came into a room and I had to hold him and hug him as it as any young little kid will love to be held and hug when he is feeling like I can't sleep or whatever. And I can really feel that is the same love that I have for my daughter. I mean, that hug and that moment that lasted like seconds, it was as if I was holding Beta in my hands. And it felt so nice to be able to give comfort to somebody else's kid, that it's a boy. In fact, I don't have experience that much experience with little boys, but it felt so nice, and the little kid was really letting me hug him. And it felt so wonderful that I could realize, well, love is love, no matter what shape, what form, what relationship you think you have with it. I felt the same intensity of love, compassion, and all the good things that my daughter brings out on me with this little boy I just met a few weeks ago. So I am the son of God because God is only light, love, and all those things. And I could really test it in the level of the form with these small experiences. Whenever I feel like, apart from my daughter, I feel joy to hear them laugh, to hear kids leads kids laughing or going around the house and feeling like in a good place. That makes me feel peaceful because I can test a little bit of the joy of my little kid through them. So that is my example of how can we feel that, because no matter the shape, the love is love.
That's beautiful. That what a great experience to have that. Susie and I went to dinner a couple of nights ago at a restaurant, and there was a little girl, younger than Vera, at the next table over, about maybe 8 feet away. And Susie did what she sometimes does if there is a child that responds. You know, she'll kind of move her head in a certain way, and then it's a little bit of a hide and seek kind of stuff, just playing, and it's definitely absolutely a game. And then Susie would, with her hands, motion to come to her, and the little girl shook her head no, as if to say, I'm trained not to do that. She wouldn't say that, she just didn't do it. And she was consistent with that, so she was trained well not to go to strangers. But when the dinner was over, we got up to leave. Susie went over, sat down, and at that point, the little girl sat on her lap when she saw it was okay within the family table area, and she hugged Susie, and Susie hugged her, and Susie got a great experience out of it. And so it was like, okay, there is a time for this and a time for that. And always, of course, something like that with the parents, so they know and they can trust. And it all was a beautiful experience for Susie. She says, oh, that child was so sweet. And it was because of what Susie did also that she was able to receive that beautiful love. And it touched everybody who was looking. The father, the mother. Mother had no problem with it. And we have seen so many different kinds of parents around that treat their children in so many different ways. Keeping it simple and knowing that love is the most important thing, and it always comes back to that. And if it's naturally coming out, then you don't have a allergy towards it, is what I'm saying. Even the allergies of other kinds of thinkings,
That's a good
it
way to
doesn't
put it.
affect you anymore. So rainbow, it's it's love is more powerful, and that's the primary movement here. It's
Yes.
love in action. It takes the shape of the container, and so that's the way I see that. Let's see if someone
Love
else
is
has
very
something to say.
powerful.
There you go. Hey Rosa, come on, smile on us.
Yeah, I want to hear
Come on,
how
Rosa.
she's doing.
I
Me
know.
too.
She's up on the stage. Take the shape of the stage now, Rosa. Okay, because
Well, whenever I look at the thing, you ask, what is, uh, I am the Son of God. To me now, in my own mindset, the thing, I just think, well, what else could I be? That's how my mind works now. And I realize
That's why you're the
that we're
spirit in
not
the
the body,
mountain.
so and whenever I look on others, I realize that that's what they are. That's what the law of God is all about, to give is to receive. And I just, in my mind, it's so clear that we're not the body, that this is just a game token. Uh, so, I could just go along with whatever. I think uh, one of the things that this gives you, gives you the permission to uh, allow all things, trust all things, forgive all things, and ultimately transcend all things. You realize that if I am God's beloved child with whom she is well pleased, uh, there's nothing I have to worry about. And there's no requirement that I fix, change, control, protect, or impress anybody, because there is nobody to fix, nobody to change, nobody to control, nobody to impress, nobody to fix. There is nobody. God is, and we are that one. And that's just a simple truth. It just, you get that certainty to that, and everything becomes kind of simple. That's real easy. Once you get that understanding, and you know that with certainty, and that's the truth. So, anyways, what else could you be but God's beloved child? If God is the God of unconditional love, that is your divine inheritance, and just uh, spread the arms out and accept it, as opposed to always arguing for a limitation. Thank you.
I get what you're saying, Tom, and my question was in the direction you're going with this. I was looking at the words themselves, and I'm kind of like Adriana in that I sometimes play with words to find out exactly what it means. So the way it's written, it says, I am the. The word the is not, doesn't have a capital T, so that someone who wants to think of Jesus in a certain way, it might have a little bit more power. But S, the Son of God, is capitalized. And it really does say that each of us is that piece, Piece, of God, the Son of God, or the descendant of God, or a extension of God, a hologrammatic part of God. It can be big or it can be small, depending upon how much junk we add to the mix, so to speak. Because I think it's all about ideas, and the ideas that are in there, like little marbles, that they make the containment, is another way of looking at it. It's more like the way I look at it. And they'll take the shape of whatever the container is at the moment. So through time, those containers change. We reject some, we let them go to the gym, we can make it very slender all the way up. Um, uh, no, I'm good with the way you just put it, Tom. I think it's perfect, because it can be very simple, and people who like to play with words sometimes get into trouble playing too much with the words. We do have to keep it
Rosa's
simple.
ready to shoot. I'm seeing her like I'm ready to speak, right?
You know,
Go
I have,
for it.
first off,
We all await you.
let me apologize. I have been absent and because I've been sick. Um, I've been in pain. And it's so apropos that we are talking about love because I'm no longer at my aunt's house. My aunt put me out. Um,
Oh my
which is
God. I hope you're doing
something.
good, but that was funny.
Yeah, I've always maintained my own space, and I asked God to show me the worst that it could possibly be, and the worst that it could possibly be is that she got upset with me because I yelled at her old precious daughter, who she honors her children above everything else, and I'm like, they're just another person to me. I don't honor anybody on that level. So we had a disturbance. And they decided that they no longer wanted me to be there, which I think is the wrong thing, but I am letting love do it. Um I'm not attacking it. I'm not disputing it. Um I'm not negative towards it. You decide what you want to do with your mother. I don't think that they are handling it well, and I also think that they're getting ready to put her in a space of total separation, which is not good. But that's their mother, and they have to deal with that on their own. I'm all right with that. It brings a tear to my eye because I know she misses me, and I miss her. But it's cool. Yeah.
But Rosa, let me ask you this. And so she will be in a facility or something?
No,
Isn't
she'll
is
be at their house, but they might as well have her in a facility because she doesn't really do anything or have any outside contact.
okay.
Um,
And in that way, you will be able to visit her still if she
oh,
is
I can
in a
visit her, but
facility.
she lives so I can visit her. It just takes
Ah,
me a
okay.
minute to even get out there to where she is.
Uh,
But
okay.
right
And how are
now,
you
I'm
feeling
just
right now? You got sick and you're well now, or you're still sick?
I actually am getting better. I've just been sleep and in pain. I had two teeth removed, so I'm
Ah,
still
okay.
recovering from that. But other than that, God always works it out. I needed to be home because I got sick, and I would not have been able to heal down there. Um, so it was apropos that I was home. It was exactly what I needed to be. I needed to be in my own space and take care of myself. The realization is I was very much involved with taking care of her. And in the interim, that could be detrimental for me because I no longer pay attention to what I need to pay attention to. So it was just a wake up call. And we'll see what happens. I'm not
And
pressed nor distressed nor anything. The thing that really made me mad, angry, and I guess I moved in anger, she decided that she wanted to pay me for my time in her anger. Let me just pay you because money means a lot to them. And so I took the money and I put it in my account and I came home. Pay me for my time. They've been spoiled all their life. They've always had someone come to assist them in their whole physical realm. And under the circumstances and under the way that we grew up, um, she is has and they have this belief that they took care of me like their own, which they didn't. Um, they treated me just like they treat anybody who comes out there with the good intentions to help them, as if they are the servant and not the family. Um, and that money makes it all right for them to treat you or say anything to you that they feel that they can, and they cannot. I am not that person. Neither she nor anyone else in that household can disrespect me in any form or fashion because I just don't accept that kind of nonsense. So I'm cool.
and I'm glad that you're feeling better, and I'm glad that you're seeing that it was the best configuration of that situation because you could heal. And I'm glad to hear your voice. and I do consider you part of me. So for whatever it's worth it, I love you, and I wish you can heal, and I wish you can laugh and you can see all the love around you, even in the form of that specific situation that was being
Yeah,
paid for
and
something
I
that you
have
did
to.
out of love.
I have to, like you said, love heals everything. It may take a while, but I'm not going to interfere with what Creator wants to be done there. You know, uh,
You might be required here instead of there.
right? I kind of like just, like I said, I've been silent for the last couple of, since this happened. I kind of just, it's not exactly, but it is as God is, because I did ask to see the truth. And to me, um, to be asked to leave is something that never has happened to me that I can recall. I'm sure it has. But me and my egotistical mind would think that, how dare you ask me to leave? I am the prize here. Ego! Be still. Mm, uh, but it's all good.
It's funny. It's funny because when I
People
was,
always
go.
People always want to give you the best rendition of themselves. And the older we get, the more we want to give our impression of what we were in that experience. And I think the older people get, the more they're accepting of it, or they may have a totally different rendition than what really happened. And that's where she is. And she has them into as far as they're concerned, they took care of us like we were theirs. No, that wasn't what happened. And I just want them to see the light. Let them see the truth. I don't have to bring it to them, Lord. Let them figure out what they remember or what they know. Is it is what it is. I honestly believe that they are in the financial situation that they are in because they had access to a whole lot of money that they didn't do anything with but make it the best that they could possibly do. And so thus they had the money to build their wealth that was given to them by my mother. And the whole thing is, um, they never told anybody that. So they're living a lie, which will come out or not, but nonetheless, it is what it is. But I do know that love heals all things over time. No matter what we might feel or be in or experiencing right now, if I allow love to come into it, then it will heal all. And I don't have to bring anything up. God will show it and will present itself where the discussion can be held. I don't have to make it up. I don't have to present it. I don't have to do anything. God will allow it to just show itself. And I'll be all right with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I just know that every time I talk to her, she says the same thing. What happened? And when are you coming back? I'll never tell her what happened because she won't believe it. Um, and she'll feel bad about it and it won't do anything. You know what I'm saying? Some things are best left alone. You know what I'm saying? Some things just don't need to be rehashed, I think. Um,
That's a
Well,
wise move.
I'm going to tell you a very funny family story that almost everybody who knows us around our life, Lee knows this. He's heard this probably 100 times. It's about an aunt in our family that used to make the rounds visiting different groups of of the different family groups. In other words, this group that lives over here, that group lives over there. And she would go around to all of them. And in her case, this is the opposite, I'm sure. I know nobody really liked having her around because in her case, she just went from one house to another and kind of forced her way in like a shoehorn with and for 2 weeks or so or 3 weeks and got to eat free and do what she wanted to do and one group within the family finally decided, oh God, she's coming again and we're going to have to deal with this. And this is the funny part. And so they devised a trick, and this trick worked like this. They were going to bring up a discussion at the dinner table, and half of the table was going to vote yes in answer to the question, whatever it was. The other half was going to say no, and they were going to leave the final decision up to this woman, the aunt. And they set it up so that whatever she said, the other group that lost would kick her out. So, in other words, she could not win that. There was no way because they would say, "What do you think?" And as soon as she did that, bam, it was gone. And so the dinner came, and they had this whole thing worked out, and they put the question out, and just like it was, three of them went one way, three of them went the other way, and they looked at this woman and said, "Well, Aunt Tilda, whatever, what do you think?" And whatever you say, um, that'll be what we all agree to. And she said, "I don't know. I'm staying 2 weeks, and that's all there is to it." In other words, she saw through what they were doing, and she says, "I don't care. I'm staying 2 weeks, whether you like it or not." And we remember that for any time that we have people come that don't fit in. Now, what that shows is the duplicity of the family, not the aunt. She saw through it very clearly, and she's a loving person, but it didn't work. So um, it's funny how people have to have that happen because I think, Rosa, in your situation, it's just a guess that sometimes we have to see the opposite of something that's wonderful to realize how wonderful it is. We have to see the black shadow that shows what the white light was, where it wasn't cast. And that way we can put the picture together in a way. So God is on top of everything. He's inside of everything. He's around everything. We're all within God. And it's all okay if we understand that this is all a big bowl of love. And that's where we're trying to go. So I think I did have a question for Tom. One other question. You have said many times, Tom, that time is a measure of change. Could you take the last few minutes and just can you explain a little bit better what that means? I'm having trouble wrapping my head around it, as they say.
Okay, well, I don't know if I'll try in regards to this, and I'd like to talk a little bit about this container and what you said about that we are God's son, and also the idea that we are love. Those are all ideas that have been thrown out. Maybe
Mm,
we could try and consolidate them all. If your essence is love, and that's what you are, that's the water. And in time and space, which is the illusion of separation, we agree to enter into a vessel, a game token, whatever you want to call it, and that contains or appears to contain what you are, which is unconditional love. So, really, that containment might be the idea that now, rather than be the unconditional love, which just naturally flows out and goes to all things because we're all at the same level. It's contained and bottled up inside, and that containment is the belief that love has to be earned, or the limiting beliefs that we have been indoctrinated into and have assumed to be our identity. And our identity appears to be that vessel. But the truth of your identity is that you're God's beloved child, perfect, whole, and complete, that you are unconditional love. And your goal in time and space is to break that jar of containment, those limiting beliefs that say that love has to be earned, or that you can't love somebody unless they behave appropriately. And it's this idea that you have to, or someone to receive love has to earn it. And our objective, being God's beloved child, is to break that containment vessel that puts an artificial restraint on ourselves so that love can just flow out as unconditional love. It just flows. And then it's up to the other entities, people, or whatever, to choose whether or not they want to accept that or they want to deny and resist that flow. But in time, we get to, I say time is the measure of change. And in time, we get to see our self image of what we are and what the world is, the egos that we write for everybody and everyone. And it allows us to make modifications of that. In reality, in not in time, because time is a measure of change, we can pretend that we're something that we're not. In eternity, or the truth is that we always are that essence, we always are pure water or unconditional love in our analogy. So that's what we are. And time allows us to pretend that we're something else and move to a different identity. Ultimately, when we break free of the uh, belief that we're limited in any way, that we break free from the idea that we are God's beloved child, we'll break that vessel of time and it'll just flow out, and we'll realize that there was no change. That's why Course in Miracles says that what our purpose is, or our goal is, to remove all the blocks, the illusions that we've placed in front of what we truly are. We are God's beloved child. That's the truth. And all that we're doing here in time and space is removing the various blocks that we've put in front of us, which makes us progress towards the realization of the reawakening of the truth of who we really are. I hope that, made some sense. Uh, and so thank you.
Thank you, Tom. That did put things together very well. Looks like we're at the top of the hour, and it's probably time to close. I know I've got a bunch of
I
things to
agree,
do.
Papa. I agree.
But you know what? Divine was raising her hand, so I don't know if she wanted to say something. Hi, Divine. Good
I'd love
morning.
to
If you
hear it.
want to jump in, you can.
Sure.
We are in Sunday, so there's no rush.
Happy Sunday, everybody. I found Andy in another room and I brought her over here. Like a stalker. It was so funny.
Well, I stalked you actually, because yeah, you mentioned I'm in there listening to Bob and his jokes and loving it, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm missing ACIM. You know what happened is I woke up and I woke up from a long sleep in another room. Oh, but anyway, go ahead, Divine.
That's so funny. And hey Bob, you know what? That joke you told the other day, it's gonna be my new favorite joke. I love it so much. So let me just tell me if I'm saying it right. Okay. So a photon walks into a bar and the bellhop comes up to him and says, "Can I take your bags?" And he says, "No, thank you. I'm traveling light." Did I say it right?
Bob, you're muted.
Yes, that's exactly right. A photon is something that travels. It's a piece of light that travels. They come from the sun, different places. So the pun was, no thanks. Can I take you back? No thanks. I'm traveling light. The statement is that's what a photon is: travel, moving light, the wave, so to speak. So yeah, that was it. It's something that, unless you've heard a little bit of Neil deGrasse Tyson and some of those people, it may not jump to clarity. But I do have another joke along that line, so I have to say this now. Lee used to get on his riding lawnmower in a previous residence where he used to live, and he told me that he would always put his headset on, and while he was riding up and down on the lawn and mowing the grass, he would listen to Neil Tyson. And I said, so why don't you change his name from Neil to Mo deGrasse Tyson instead of Neil deGrasse Tyson? So that was that, and that's as good as it gets for now. But thank you. It's always nice to hear that a joke resonates. Mo deGrasse Tyson, he's quite a brilliant man and a wonderful man to listen to, and he explains really difficult topics in an enjoyable and simple way. One of these days, maybe I'll get a chance to tell him about. We've changed his name to Mo deGrasse Tyson, and there you have it. That's my best for today. Thank you, Divine. You are divine because it's always nice to have somebody say something like that. Thank you.
I
And
love it. No,
Andy,
I got sorry, Bob. I got
no,
the
that's okay.
photon joke, and I love like dad jokes and like puns and
Yes,
play on words, and Lee does that sometimes too. I love it. I love it when you guys are nerdy and silly like
it was
that.
one of those dad jokes. That's where it came from.
It's such a dad joke. It's perfect.
Yes,
It's right on my
yes.
alley. I love it. I
For
love
those of
coming here
you,
and you guys make me laugh. Sorry.
good, good. Now, for those of you who don't know, there is this. What do you call it? There's a thing you can listen to every day, and this guy gets on, and he has about 8 or 9 or 10 of those kinds of puns, and some of them make you ache. You know, those kinds of puns. Oh my God, how could he do that? And others are like this one. This one just really caught my attention because I'm really into light and photons and stuff like that. So, traveling light, that was it. Yeah, anybody else who has a dad joke, anytime, come on, bring it up here. We like to laugh, and we do laugh a lot too.
I know
Yesterday
Lee
was
has
like
a
that.
lot of them, but he's right now pretty busy with the boys. So I know he will jump in if he were paying attention.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to have to end my presence here because I do have to get on with something else that I promised. So thank you all for being here, entertaining me. I hope I entertained you a little bit, and it's been a great meeting this morning. Thank you so much. I'll be leaving now.
Thank you,
Thanks, Bob.
Sean.
Hmm.
Bob. Namaste,
Thank you,
everyone.
Bob.
Have a great
Namaste.
day. Great, great,
Namaste,
great
everybody.
day.
Create a great
Have
Take
a
day.
care.
great
People.
day.
Pleasure to hear you, to have you, to listen to you, and to be here every morning. See you tomorrow, my friends. Have a beautiful Sunday, and everybody down there, thank you very much for listening to us and participating in any way, because we are really, really enjoying this with all of you. So thank you, Bill, Marianne, Josiah, Rich, Michael. Michael, I hope you're having a good time or a better time. Asel, Mickey, we are just finishing our room. Um, we will be here tomorrow at 6:30, reading the next lesson on the book called A Course in Miracles. So thank you very much, everybody, for being here. See you tomorrow.
I love you, family. See you
And
tomorrow.
I love your face. I never could see your face before, so you're beautiful, Divine. That's a good picture. Beautiful.
Thank you. I'm a reflection of you, beautiful
Well,
goddess.
we do have the same color of hair.